Welcome to the Real Board Loft. I'm Trip Forman, and this is the Lost V3 rocket. Right out of the blocks, everybody's like, V3, it's got to be better than V2. But what the V3 is just a different variant of the rocket shape. If you go all the way back to the original OG rocket, they had the rocket, they also had the grocket and the squash it, and then the rock up. So they had different variations of the rocket, all in the rocket family. The V3 is now building out the rocket family based on that new V2 design. So the V2, super popular the last year to 18 months, and it still exists and still will continue to exist. What the V3 does is offer a little bit different variations. Let's get into the differences. Starting, the rocker is very, very similar. So again, it's got a flatter entry with an accelerated tail kick like all the rest of the rocket boards do. The front of this board is narrowed up a little bit, so the forward 12 to 18 inches of the board. So if we're looking at about a double shaka, that's about 18 inches, right about there. This from here forward is a little bit narrower than on a standard. You got that right here first. Double shaka, 18 inches, is narrower than a standard V2. Also, if we turn the board around, you're going to notice that the tail, rather than having just one wing and then going to a little bit wider diamond tail, the standard rocket would be about this wide. Looking at this board, it's got two wings, one right here, and then it goes down to a mini diamond. And so what this does is it reduces the tail area, gives you a little bit more control in bigger waves. Also, it increases the amount of outline curve in the board. It makes the board more precise in the pocket, just basically reduces the horsepower. It gives you more outline curve for tighter turn and more control in the pocket of the wave. So going back 3 years, 2-3 years ago, when they had the OG rocket and the grocket, people wanted the grocket because they wanted that rocket feel, but they wanted to reduce the power off the back of the board and have a board that's more precise, either for lighter footed surfers or people that were surfing in better waves. This is what they've done to this board. In the grocket, they did it with a wing or swallowtail. In the V3, they're doing it with a double wing diamond. Again, reducing the area of the tail and just reducing the power coming off the tail. How does this board work in your quiver? There's a bunch of different ways. Last season I had a bottom feeder and a V2, and it was an awesome two-board quiver, but I found a lot of times that the V2 would top out, especially if the wave was really hollow and that wider tail became too much and became drifty. The V3 is going to do a much better job holding in that hollow stuff. Does it replace the V2? It definitely doesn't, because the V2, if you're living in a smaller wave area and it's your only board, this board would be lacking a lot of horsepower on the bottom end compared to the V2. If you were looking for something to complement a groveler and then this was going to be your top board and you're going to have nothing above it, this might be a better board to look at for that range. So for instance, last year I had a bottom feeder for the grovel, I had a rocket, a V2 rocket for the mid-range, and then I had a mini driver for the top end with the round tail. And that worked really good as a three-board quiver, but if I only had two boards, I couldn't have done it with any two of those three boards. This would be that second board to complement a bottom feeder, complement a couch potato, and have it go up into more powerful round waves where you want to reduce the tail area. So again, going back to the originals, the OG rocket, the grocket, the squash it, they had the full rocket family. The V3 is the build-out board for the rocket family. So now we've got the V2, we have the V2 stub, and this is the V3. A little bit reduced tail area, more precision in the pocket, a little bit snappier nose shape, double shaka, 18 inches from the nose, a little bit reduced area right here. The V3 rocket at Real.